And good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host, and I just had a little technical glitch there. Sorry about that. So listen, I am really excited about the guest that I have on today. This lady has, well, I don't know her entire story, so I've heard that it's an unbelievable story though. So I'm really excited to hear it myself. I want to welcome my friend Michelle Eldridge to the show. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Hi, I am so honored to be even on here with you. So thank you so much.
One of the things I've noticed about you is your humility is awesome. I mean, you're just a really kind and gentle soul, I can tell. So I'm excited to have you on here. And I think that I told you the show is called Breakthrough Walls. It's to help people have a breakthrough in life because we all get stuck from time to time. And some people just don't know how to get unstuck. And I think that hearing other people's stories is definitely a part of the healing process. So, Michelle, thanks for being here. Let's start with how about you tell everybody where you were born and raised?
Yeah, so I was born in Kingsport, but I was raised in a teeny weeny town in Tennessee. It's called Sneedville. Um, Most people know of like Knoxville. It's like East Tennessee, but it's actually almost a couple hours from there. But I grew up there, and so it's like no Walmart, no anything like that. The only thing you're going to find is a red light and a couple dollar stores. Like it's tiny.
Nice. So I literally just got back from Chattanooga like 2 days ago.
Oh, you're not far from me where I live now.
Oh,
That
where
wasn't
about are
far.
you?
Now I'm in Newport, Tennessee, so I'm
Okay.
really close to like Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge and
Okay.
all
Okay.
those good things. So it's not as far from me to the bigger places now.
I got you. I got you. So so you grew up in a real tiny town, and I can totally relate to that. What was it like? I mean, did you go to the elementary and middle school and high school and all that there, right?
Well, I moved in middle school, but I went up until that point. I went there, and it was. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't. I grew up. My mom was like really young when she had me, and she didn't really have any knowledge because her mom wasn't around. She was being raised by her dad,
Yeah.
and so she was young and she was partying. She was doing all these things. So that's why I was around.
Yeah.
And like, so it was just a small town. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows your business. If they don't, they've made it up and they know what you're doing at all times. And so that's why I grew up knowing everybody knows everything and everybody's holding something against you if you have, like for me, as a kid, I remember people would treat me different because of either my mom or my dad or my uncles or my something, because it was a cycle of drugs or alcohol or whatever. And if your last name wasn't the greatest, then you weren't treated the greatest. And it was, a small town kind of thing a lot of
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. So there was a lot of small town mentality, I guess,
Yes, a
being
lot.
up in everybody's business. So you said you moved in middle school. Was it
Yeah.
far away or just down the road or
So I moved to a different county.
in Tennessee
I,
still?
yeah, it's still in Tennessee. I
Uh,
actually just moved there because I moved in with my dad. It was when I met him. I was 13. And
Wow.
I only did that because my mom and my stepdad wouldn't quit fighting. And I thought I had this big picture in my mind. I told my mom one day, I was like, if y'all fight again, I'm leaving, I'm going to my dad's. And I remember her packing me over there with trash bags with clothes in them, dropping me out, looking him in the face and saying, I've had her the first 13 years. Now it's your turn, and pulling out of the driveway. And I thought he was going to be some knight in shining armor and just save me. And my mom never would talk bad about him. So I just had made this big thing up. So that's why I moved.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. There's so many parallels to our stories. It's crazy. So, so here you were living now at 13, living with your real dad that you had just met.
Yep. And he has a family. He's married. He's got a daughter and a stepson. And they live on this farm. And so, I do chores and things like that, which is awesome. Obviously, you're supposed to do that. But I just always felt like the outsider because, daddies love their little girls. And so my dad's youngest daughter, she was young. And so she got all this attention. And then my stepmom, whose son, that was my dad's stepson, he got the attention from her, mommy's boy kind of thing. And then there I was, just kind of there. Yeah. And although I will say I am grateful because the things that I witnessed, when I was not there were far more insane versus the life that I had while I was at my dad's.
Right.
And not to say that it wasn't, there wasn't things that happened, but it was definitely a better environment as a whole.
Yeah. Wow. And so did you stayed there through high school and
Well, I stayed there. My sister got took away from my mom. And so I ran away basically from my dad's to go be with her. She went to my grandpa's, but outside of me going to be in foster care with her for a little bit until they told me mom was going to get her back. And then I went back to my dad's. I was with my dad up until I was 18 at 12:01 a.m. And then I had my boxes in the rain waiting to leave.
Wow.
When on my birthday.
Boxes in the rain? It was raining?
Yeah.
Oh my
gosh. It was raining. I'd put my little boxes outside to wait on my stepdad's car to pull up so I could get out.
Oh my gosh. And
it was insane. I went through a lot of so I missed my sister. I'd basically raised her.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't go around them. I couldn't whatever. And so I missed her. I cut myself. I have her initials carved in my leg. It's insane.
Wow.
And I lost my virginity by being raped at 14. So I snuck out. Ugh. This is on me. I'm aware of this. Okay. But I snuck out of this babysitting job I was doing at 14 and went with my little boyfriend. And his cousin ends up raping me. Long story short, I go home and, my mom finds out about it because one of the place that we went was a friend of hers.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she keeps calling my dad, trying to tell him. My dad's like, why does she keep doing that? Why is she lying? And finally, I got tired of him calling her a liar because even though, I knew a lot of wrong that she did, she was still my mom, and I knew she was telling the truth. So I said, it's true. Is that what you want to hear? And so they called the law. Law comes. The law tells me, well, you shouldn't have been out. Obviously, I know that, right?
Wow.
Okay, but the guy was in the Army, and he was leaving back out. And so nothing ever happened, anything like that. And so after that, everything just was different. I was different. And that's where I started to go downhill fast.
Wow. Now, did you graduate from high school and all that?
I did. I even graduated with honors. I loved school. I graduated early. School was the only, it was my safe place. I played basketball. I was good at it. I played volleyball. I was good at it. I was good at all this stuff because that was something for me to put my energy in, I guess, and excel in and get attention for that, excelling, that great job or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I graduated at the top of my class, and, I So I turned 18 a month before I graduated early. And so I would drive my mom's boyfriend's car back to across the other county to finish school so that I did graduate. I didn't go to my graduation, but I did graduate.
Wow. Wow. So in the midst of all of that insanity, you graduated with honors.
Yes.
That's
And
incredible.
and I think too that, again, my dad's and my stepmom's house were a way better environment, but I still, after that happened to me,
Yeah.
like I always told myself, I won't do what they did, or I won't, I'm never going to be on drugs. I'm never going to, all those things. But when it's, I had an addictive OCD like personality, and
Yeah.
I was aware of it. But after that happened, and I never really was taught how to deal with anything because everybody was either smoking weed or self-medicating or whatever they were doing, that was the only thing that I knew to turn to. And so I would skip school and go smoke weed or snort some kind of pill or do something.
Wow.
But I still graduated with honors.
Wow.
And could have so I started going to college. I went for like a couple weeks, and then I didn't go back because that's when I realized I was addicted. I actually got a job and was going to college at the same time right after I graduated, and realized I was addicted.
Hold it. And you were 18, 19 years old?
18 years old.
Okay. And you realized you were addicted to what?
Yeah, to everything. So when I moved back,
You said to everything.
to everything that made me feel like I felt nothing. So like,
Wow.
when I moved back to Sneedville, it was right there. It's like, it wasn't like I didn't know how to get it, where to get it, what it was. And when I lived with my dad, it was a little harder.
Yeah.
It was a little harder. My friends would bring it to school. We would snort pills in the bathroom. But in Sneedville, you could somebody would shoot you up in 5 seconds if you wanted them to. And that's what happened. I jumped right into IV drug use. And I thought one day I was going to go to work. And I was a care partner at a nursing home. And I was like, hey, I'm going to go to work and I'm not going to do anything today. I'm just going to go to work. And I got to work and I started throwing up and I started shaking and I started, like, it was crazy. And so I had to leave work. And I went home and I was telling Mom, I'm like, I am sick. Like, I'm sick. She's like, I'm like, I need some medicine or something. And she's like, no, you need a pill. You're withdrawing right now from drugs. And so it hit me like, oh, I did that. I am exactly what I said, like, and it was tough. And that just made me want to do it more. It was just like, hey, now I have to have it. I'm a failure, never gonna whatever. And so I kept going to work, but I would have the stuff. And then one day come and I didn't have the money. And so I was late. And then another time I was late because I couldn't find something before I got there or whatever. Then I got fired. And when I got fired and I didn't have money to go to get the pill to go to school or whatever, I dropped out of school and didn't have the job. And from there it went left.
He said it went left.
Way left.
I'm a recovered alcoholic, so I can laugh.
Yeah, no. Anybody can laugh. You can laugh now. Anybody can. It's totally fine.
But like I it's not funny though because
no, not at the time. For sure.
Right. But I think that wow, man, you went through some stuff.
A lot of it. It was.
And this is all
crazy.
in little Sneedville, Tennessee. This is all going down.
Yeah, for the most of it, except just a couple years. But the worst of it was all there.
Wow. So you, there's Angela Brooks just jumped on. Love Angela. She's amazing. She's the one that
Yes,
told
she
me I
is.
should interview you. So, and I'm excited that she said that. So here you are now, you're still 18
Yep.
and you realize at 18 years old that you're addicted to drugs.
Hmm.
Well, you said everything. Well, whatever.
Basically
Right?
everything.
Yeah.
I wasn't addicted to alcohol, I will say that.
Yeah.
But it was like after, because when I was raped, it was the first time I'd ever drunk anything.
Yeah.
And I passed out, is why I was raped and couldn't do anything about it. So
Ah,
I had a grudge against it in my head. So I wasn't an alcoholic,
right.
but if that hadn't have happened, like maybe if I was conscious and was raped or something, maybe I would have been. I don't
Yeah.
know. But
Wow.
pretty much anything else that I could get my hands on when you're in that, like now I don't have a job, right? Like I don't have a job. I'm brand new 18, whatever. You'll do basically anything to
Yeah.
get your hands on it when you're in that state. And so I end up, fast forward a little bit, I end up getting this shoplifting charge at Rite Aid. I put something in my pocket and never left the store. And they saw me do it, put it in my pocket. So the police come, and it was valued at $13. And the police officer wrote them a check to pay it to try to get me to not go to jail, because my grandparents, my great grandparents, the people, if I had any kind of raising whatsoever when I was with my mom, and again, it was a victim of circumstance herself, but my great grandparents were the only like rocks in my life. And so everybody loved them. And
Yeah.
so this cop is like, gosh, have mercy. We don't want to take this girl to jail. Like it will kill them. And, I know too, but I'm not here. I'm
Right.
not.
Right.
And so he writes the check and they take me to jail anyway. And so I go to jail and I'm 18. I'm in this jail and whatever. And then I go to court. My stepdad rather, not my real dad. He made my bond after I sat there and cried for hours.
Wow.
And then I got out and he said, this is your only time. If and when you do anything else, I will never, ever get you out again. And he stuck to that. I never made another bond. And I was in jail many other times. And
Jeez. So you tested it.
Yeah, apparently. I thought I would test the waters. I have no idea. But
Wow.
so I get out, I get on this probation, right? And on probation, you have to pass drug tests, you have to pay money.
Yeah.
And so I kept going back to jail because I would refuse the drug test so that they didn't have a drug test failed on record of me.
Right.
Right? So it's the same thing as failing it, but they couldn't actually say that I did, right? So they could put me in jail for that. So they did. Then I wouldn't pay, and then I wouldn't show up or whatever. And so I would go back. Then I would do 9 months to flatten it, and then I'd get out, walk in the street and get public intoxication and go back, get another probation. It just kept going like that over and over.
Wow, what a cycle. And so so this all pretty much started to go off the rails when you were 18.
Yep.
And many many arrests.
Yes.
The look on your face is like okay, so was there a point where you were like, man, I'm not digging the whole jail scene anymore?
In fact, there was, at this point, so like from 18 to 20, I had myself on the street. I'd stole my body to get money for food, for whatever. And so they would arrest me. It would be winter time, and they would find me in this farmer's market, freezing to death, and they would either come run me off or do something. And I remember a time that, not that I got tired of the jail, that I went to the courthouse and asked the judge, please put me in jail. And he did. He was so shocked. I'm like, please put me in jail because like they're gonna, I couldn't go to my great grandparents. I didn't want to be around him like that, but that was the only, so I went, but there was a time I was fixing to turn 21 and I just got out of jail. It was like I visited the outside. It wasn't the other way around. And so I got out and I saw this guy. I'd never seen him before ever in my life. And he was washing his truck. Well, I saw him one time, but I didn't know who he was. And he was washing his truck at this little car wash. I kid you not. I'd borrowed somebody's bicycle. Okay. He was washing his truck and I walked up to him and I'm like, hey, so I just got out of jail. He had tattoos on his arms. So I'm like, I can say this to this guy. I don't even know what I was thinking. But I'm like, I just got out of jail and like a shower, I need a ride and have some fun, whatever. And I kid you not, I got in that truck and I've never got out. And it's been over 8 years now.
Oh my God.
I kid you not. And so we end up, we take off that day, long story short. And he's doing stuff, I'm doing stuff, but at least he's got a truck and a job, right? And I remember even sleeping in that truck. But there was one day he looked at me and he said, and I've been in way worse shape. I had a million times, but he said to me, if we're actually going to do this, we're either going to have to make a life, get a place, or we're going to have to part ways. And it was the first time in my life, and I don't even know, outside of like my sister, my mom, whatever, that I actually cared for another human. And it dawned on me that I wasn't willing to give that little bit of feeling I could feel up. And so I said, we'll try. I'll try. And we end up, he finds a little camper. We move into it. And in the camper is when I actually decided no more needle for me. I can't do it again. And what's crazy is I thought to myself a million times, I'll die shooting up.
I have a question though. Like did you just say that you were living in the truck?
We stayed many a nights in the truck. We stayed at his mom's. We'd go to my mom's. But in the winter, there was many a nights just to not have to stay with them.
Oh my God.
We would stay in this little S10 truck.
And you were still using, doing all the drugs and he
wasn't like me, but he was still doing stuff. He didn't shoot up though.
Wow. Holy crap. This is a movie.
It's insane.
Holy crap. This could be a movie. Okay. So, wow. Okay. So now you decide to get a camper. I mean, the movie plot is just getting better. So now y'all decide that if we're going to make this work, meaning us as a couple or life, or whatever, we're going to have to get a place and not stay in the truck or at mom's anymore.
Yep. And that's what we do. So we get this little camper. It's out of Sneedville. It's in Rogersville. And which is like 45 minutes away, which was good because he worked in Rogersville. So
okay.
And one day, like because he worked, it was just laying in there every morning for me. It wasn't like I didn't have it or like I was standing in the cold hoping somebody would give me $1 when they walked by, like whatever. And it was like this moment of the moment I took it off that pedestal for just a second. It was so fast. I was like, I don't want that anymore. I can't do it. And so he was already gone.
You don't want what? The drug?
I don't want to go in there and pick that needle up full of stuff and put it in my arm again. Like I don't want to do that. And so he's gone to work. It was just in there fixed already for me. And so I slide this thing shut, the little bedroom, how the camper has like a sliding little thing that shuts the bedroom off.
Yeah.
And I burned up and I sweat and I stayed in there until he come home. And I told him, like, and this was at the, so 6 a.m. to like 4 or 5 p.m. because he does like roofing carpentry and stuff like that. So he comes in. I'm like, you got to get that out of there. He's like, get what? What? I'm like, get the thing and get it away. And I don't know what he did with it, whether he done it, whether he throw it away, whatever. I don't care. I didn't ask. But then I finally come out, and it was tough. The next, like, I don't know how long, but it felt like forever. It was tough. But my friend Shauna, who was his boss's wife, she started inviting me to church. And so I would ride with her to church on Wednesdays and Sundays. And I met some of the best people I've ever met in my life. And whereas in Sneedville, if I went to a church, people would have looked at me funny. Well, these people didn't know me, so it's easier for me to be like, yeah, I'll go here, Wow. So I went, and it helped me a lot. Shortly after that, like so shortly, in fact, like 1 month, maybe 2, I ended up pregnant with my son.
Wow. Okay. And first, I want to say, everybody should be sharing this out to their friends and family, because your story is freaking unbelievable. So you detoxed yourself.
Yeah, no, I tried stuff. Like, I went to this like methadone clinic, and it just made me feel high. I will say that Suboxone did help me, 1000%. But in the end, you got to like, it still comes down to, it's got to happen. Like, you're going to go through it no matter what. Right. And one thing's just this, like, it's just a different kind of detox, no matter which one it is. So that happened. And then, but when I got pregnant with Jace, my life became like, it was just easier, because it was like, okay, it's not just for me anymore,
Yeah.
And it's not just for him, Michael, anymore. It's, this has got to happen. And he was 38 when we met, I think. So Jace, by this time, he was almost 39, I think. So when I got pregnant with Jace, that's his first ever going to be kid, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm really just like priding myself, and I've got to have this kid. Like, it's got to be, So I go through that. I have Jace. He ends up, my placenta abrupted, and they think because of all the drugs I did that is why it wasn't able to hang on. But he was born at 10 weeks early, and had lung issues and a lot of things. And he fit through it. He was tough. He got out of the NICU, and we kept him on steroids, breathing treatments, all this stuff. And the kid is brilliant, and he's made, obviously our lives great, but he was that solid, I can do this. Like, this has to happen. And, and this has not been told often, and I've only told it one other time, but I'd had a kid before that, a month. So I'd had a kid. Her name's Rayleigh, and I gave her away. I found out I was 7 weeks pregnant in jail, and then they let me out at 38 weeks so I could have her, and then I had to go straight back, so I had to give her away.
Wow.
And I'd had her a month before I actually met Michael. Okay.
Wow.
So I knew I didn't have anything for her that I could offer, and I promised myself if I ever had a kid, I would not drag it through what I was drugged through. And at that time, I wasn't ready. And so I said, when I got pregnant with Jace, that I have to make this work. I have got to, like, I can do this.
Right.
And we got an apartment because of our friends, Shauna and Steve, and they helped us get an apartment. We get the apartment, and I'm still going to church and all this stuff, and it's awesome. And then I get picked up for a charge that was like 3 years old, and end up on the front of a newspaper, and go back to jail and be thrown in there with people who were just like I was before. And that was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. Jace was like 3 months old at this point. Nobody knows this. I've never told this story.
Wow.
And Michael's never been alone with a kid. And Jace is sick. He's really sick. And I'm thinking, like, how do I still deserve this? Like, what is it that I've done that I still have to pay for this? And it'd been so long. So anyway, I get out.
You're all right.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you're okay.
But I get out, and Jason's like 7 months old. He looks like a completely different kid. And it was so hard. And then it got so that we couldn't pay the rent at this apartment. It kept going up. It was $500 at the time. Like $100 was hard to come by, and Mike was working, making good money. But Jace's milk was so expensive because he could only have a certain kind. So it's either that or the rent. And Michael liked those like newspaper things. And he found a trailer, like a mobile home, for $1,000. And so he borrowed the money from his boss. Again, Steve and Shauna, they come to our rescue a million times. And so his mom has property in Sneville. And so we moved back there. We get the trailer, we borrowed the money to move it, and we put it on that property, and we moved there. So there's no rent.
Right.
There's just a light bill. We didn't even have a water bill. It was like a well. And I'm so proud. Like, there was a yard, and there was a shed, and there was a barn, and it was ours. And I put my whole soul into it.
Right.
But we're back in Sneville, and Michael falls into, doing drugs again. And then he loses himself. He gets shot in 2015 driving down the road, and from there
gets shot with a gun.
Yeah, with a gun.
Gets shot
driving down the road, maybe a mile from our house. I don't know where he was going or what he was doing exactly, but it was dark. The passenger window was down in the truck, and a bullet come through the window, and he put his hand up like a reflex. You put your hand up to, and it went through here and out here and into this artery because he was holding the steering wheel with his arm. And he drove home like that. He had a leather jacket on, and I think that saved him for the most part. But he drove home, comes in the door bleeding like it's insane. And long story short, 911 comes. He goes, they take a vein from his foot, put it in his arm, put this plastic thing so he could whatever. But because he fell into that other stuff, and then that happened, it done something to him where he started hearing things that weren't actually there, people, whatever.
Wow.
And it was crazy for a good 2 years at least. And I was trying to get him help, but they wouldn't let me. Like, they're like, no, he has to say either he's going to kill somebody, or he's got to be the one to check himself in. I'm like, but he believes it's real. Like, he's not going to do that.
Right.
Like, you can't argue with him, because it'd be like somebody telling you right now that I'm not here with you. Like, we're not talking.
Right.
And so he ends up doing something, gets arrested, and here I am now. I've had another kid by this time. I found out I was pregnant with her the day before he got shot, as a matter of fact.
Oh, dear Lord.
And so here I am. He gets arrested. I have my car. He just blew up my car. He blew up his truck. And I'm there. We got a motorcycle, 2 kids, an electric bill due. And he had $40 in his wallet when they arrested him. I have no savings, no nada, no job, no ability to get a job, no sitter, nothing at all. Okay. It was scary. I'm like, we've done all this, and I'm probably going to lose my kids because I can't pay an electricity bill are we serious right now? Like, I can't even,
I'm
no,
sorry.
like, it was ridiculous, right? That is not it.
I'm not laughing at the situation. It's the way you're saying it.
Well, it's just you have to say it like that or people would all be in tears. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Are we serious right now? That is crazy, Michelle. That is insane. I mean, and I'm not judging. I've actually been there, but I've never heard somebody else like, that's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. Wow, is it? So I try, even though I don't have a car, I don't have anything, a babysitter, even if I could get a job. I walk. I get a ride. I thought to myself, I'll walk if I get the job, right? But I apply for a job at the Family Dollar in town, and they won't hire me. So I'm like, okay. Now it's been quite a few years now. What's going to give? Because I don't have any other option. And so I started thinking, oh man, what if I do one of those spam things? What if I do one of those at-home spam things where people post all this crap all the time, except there's got to be a way to do it right, like different. I don't want to be like that, but what if I could do one of those? And that's how I started Googling companies besides this company and this company. I'm not going to say the names because those are the two companies I knew of that I didn't want to be like, right?
Right.
So I was like, how their reps were, I should say, that I'd saw. So I started Googling it. I didn't know it was called like network marketing, direct sales. I didn't know anything like that.
Right.
And I just happened to get invited to this like Facebook event thing. And this girl on my friends list who I don't even know.
Wait,
okay.
A Facebook event thing? What's that?
Yes. Like, you can go to Facebook and create an event and then you can go live in there. Yeah, that's what it was. So I was watching this. It was crazy. So yeah, why not? What else am I going to do?
Family Dollars.
And so she was selling stuff. And I was like, I think, why not watch her and see what it is she's got? Because I'm already trying to search it out. And she shows this makeup. The only thing with that is I don't wear any at the time. I didn't wear it.
Right.
Okay. But I'm like, that looks pretty easy. Maybe, maybe not. But every company I found, I was like, there's auto ship and inventory or something like that, a quota. And I'm like, nobody even likes me. I don't even have Instagram. How do I think that I'm going to do this? How would I even get the money? And I asked her, I messaged her. I'm like, I'm being kind of defensive. I'm like, so what's the quota, the auto ship, the inventory, and how much does it cost? And she's like, yeah, so there's none of that. But the cost is this. It's $200 or $400. And I'm like, okay. So I think about it and I'm like, well, if that's all I got to do, maybe I can do it because I don't have any options. So
wow.
the only thing that I had a bunch of was kids' toys. So I went through my kids' toys, posted them on Facebook yard sale, made people come pick them up to buy them from my house, pictures off my wall, some maternity clothes, stuff like that, until I got $231 after tax and shipping to get my thingamajigger. When I got this big packet.
Hold on a minute. You literally sold your kids' toys to get the money to go.
Yes, sir.
What about the electric bill?
Well, see, that's what I said. I said, no, it's not been paid at this time. Not yet. So I said, okay, so Michelle, you know that this could pay the bill. Like, this is a big chance you're taking considering no one. You have nobody you're going to reach out to. So what exactly is your plan here? And all I could think was, if that girl could do it pregnant, and I was seeing all these other stories about other companies, I'm like, why couldn't I do it? So like, I could do it on Facebook. They don't have to know me. Like, that's how I thought. So I chose to get that. So I get it. It comes. Okay. And I just start going live because that's what she was doing. That's what she was doing. So I was like, okay. So I've got this big air conditioner, books piled up to lean my phone on. It's a horrible phone. You can hear the air conditioner in the background. It's awful. And I'm like, okay. I Eminem'd people. I'm like, this is what I am. Yeah. And this is what I'm not anymore.
Right.
There's nothing you can now tell me about me. I'm not here for that. Here's what I'm here for. Okay. I don't know how to do makeup. Not a clue. But if I can somehow put this on me and it look good, I can assure you, you can do it. So that's what I done. I started slapping it on my face, following this little card, doing it over and over and over. And I'd made my money back for that kit and enough to pay the light bill in 2 weeks' time from people who didn't even like me. Okay.
Oh
because
God.
my videos was getting shared because they saw if I could follow that flipping little thing, get it on there, somehow they know they could do it. And they did. And so it started going around everywhere. Everybody's sharing my videos. People are buying it. It's affordable. So they're just sharing it with everybody. And it goes nuts. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm just blind.
What do you mean it goes nuts? What's that?
It goes nuts like thousands and thousands of dollars of makeup sold in very little time with me with no knowledge whatsoever. Okay. Now, mind you, when I say thousands and thousands of dollars worth of makeup, this is mostly $14 stuff. So it was a lot of $14 stuff to add up to that in just a little bit of time. And I was so I paid down on a car that in like 2 months. And by Christmas, it was the first Christmas that the health department or somebody didn't have to do anything, and my kids had the best Christmas ever.
Wow.
It was insane.
Wow.
It was insanity. Okay. Wow. So I'm still blind though. I still have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing, but here I am. And so it's after the first of the year, and January, it's kind of sometimes slow, whatever, but I didn't know that. So I'm like, okay, this sucks. Like, January sucks. I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing this. Like, one bad month and I want to quit, typical, right? And so right. February comes and I get my little, my check, which is way more than I would have made if I quit. Duh. But like, I'm just like, this isn't enough. I don't even know what I was thinking. But I talked to Jessica Perez. She is in my upline somewhere. And she said, or she's my upline's upline. And she said, Michelle, no, you would be crazy to quit. And so I did not quit. And I started Googling how to do companies from home. And that's really when I figured out it was called network marketing, direct sales, and whatever, when I started trying to find out how to do it.
Yeah.
And it took me like 5 months, 6, to even try to figure out how to do it. And so, because the company is still new, but it was really new then. I've been there over 2 years now. So there was the blind, leading the blind, basically.
Yeah.
And so that I found Ray and Jessica Higdon through Google. Praise Jesus for the Google, because I started
the Google.
The Google. Thank you,
and
Jesus.
Ray Higdon.
Yeah, and Ray Higdon, 1000%.
We love
because Ray. After that, I started following him. He was doing this like free coaching Friday.
Yeah.
And free coaching was all that I thought that I would ever be able to afford. Okay. Right. So I'm watching it. And at the time, they didn't sell their journals and other things publicly. And He was like showing the journal. And I'm like, where do you get that? In Rank Makers. And I'm like, somebody answered me. And I'm like, what's that? Oh, it's a group. It's $20 a month. And I'm like, I can even I can afford that. Like, I can do it. And so I joined Rank Makers, his group, and I legitimately felt like I'd won the lottery, because there was finally somebody to tell me every day exactly what to do, what to say, I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. And so I legitimately followed directions so literally like I followed directions, and then I end up getting interviewed by him because of the results that I was creating. I ended up, after I joined Rank Makers, I recruited like 10, 11 people in like 45 days. And so he heard about it. It was like a contest, a Wealth Wednesday contest to like give away $100. I was one of the winners, and he interviewed me. And on the interview, on the fly, like out of nowhere, it wasn't planned, after he started talking to me, hearing my story, he asked me to speak at Prospecting Duplication Summit on a panel. And that was the first time ever that I spoke anywhere. Then the first time that, like, it was just that I flew to Utah the weekend before, which just like, it was insane to me to even think about. I'd never been to Florida. I'd never been to anywhere. He's like, how about we'll cover your ticket. We'll pay to fly you down. Do you think you could find somebody to room with? And I'm like my mouth, the footage is out there of my mouth. Like, it's like a GIF now, whatever, of my mouth dropping because It was so shocking that he would ask me to do that. And from there, he's like, don't stop working now. He's like, don't stop working. If you stop, don't be one of those people who, get some whatever and then stop. And I never stopped. And so I kept going, kept growing. And then I spoke again at Top Earner Academy, spoke at A&MP. I spoke at Rank Makers Live, and I'm speaking at Top Summit in February, and been interviewed by the most awesome people like you. And it's just like insane what can happen in just 2 years' time, because I believed if somebody else could, then why can't I, right? And because this industry, especially the direct sales network marketing industry, there's no prejudice. Like there was no background check for me, and there was no whatever. It was up to me if I wanted to do a little bit or a lot of it, right? But it gave me that option to, okay, you can actually create something if you want to here. Now the ball's in your court. And it worked.
So let me ask you this. I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, hold on, I'm supposed to be asking her questions. I'm so mesmerized by your story. You like, wow. So you have, here you are, you apply at the Family Dollar. We'll call it the Family Dollar. And you, like, let's talk about the moment. I'm sorry. It is funny. The moment they told you we're not hiring you, the Family Dollar.
They led me on to think that I was going to get interviewed and, all this stuff. And they're like, you can't be hired at, and I'm honest on my papers, they're going to check that. Why would I lie?
Right.
And so they're like, because, and the reason that they didn't hire me was because of the shoplifting charge from when I was 18. And at this point I don't even know how old I was. It was 2 years ago. So like, I was like 26, 27.
Wow.
And I'm like, how is a charge 8 years ago keeping me from getting a job today? But because it's a morality charge, that's the Family Dollar.
We're talking about the Family Dollar, not Chase.
I mean, I was just so shocked. And there was plenty of other people who did work there who had big charges, way bigger than that I knew because I'd been in jail with them.
But so here you were, not able to get a job at the Family Dollar, and that had to feel incredibly debilitating. But yeah, and I'm sure you were all kinds of pissed off. Like, I can't even get a job at the Family Dollar. What the heck? Right?
Well, it just made me feel like why did I even work that hard? Like, why did I even try to get to this point when you can't get any farther. Like they're not going to let me have an actual life. So what's the point?
And
You know,
here now, I'm going to assume that you're one of the top earners in your company, I would imagine.
Yeah. So I am top. I'm in the top 3% in leadership, top 1% in sales in my company.
That's unbelievable.
It's
I'll bet
unreal.
you're making more money than you would have at the Family Dollar.
Maybe just a smidge, just a smidge more. No, and you know, it's this kind of thing. It's like I could like I was just talking to my husband the other day. I was like, you know, before when I got $5, that's when I was like, oh man, I'm broke, right? Like then I started worrying or trying to figure, oh gosh, I got $5, and somehow I could manage, right?
Yeah.
Like that's eggs, that's bread, and that's at least 1-2 liter of something, right? So
Right.
I knew, but now it's like the amount of okay, we're to this point, we've got to stop is way bigger. I'm like, how did it even get to this point? Like that feels broke to me. Like it's so crazy.
I know. I get it. It's amazing. It's amazing, right?
It's amazing.
Amazing. So, wow. I am, wow. Okay. I want to be your agent. We're going to get a movie deal for you. I'm
totally.
I don't know where to start, but I'm going to figure that out. Michelle, this is unreal. It's unreal. And so you've been doing network marketing now that you know what it is.
Yeah.
You've been doing network marketing for 2 years.
Just over 2 years. Let me holler for a charger 1 second.
Okay.
Michael, bring me my charger, please. Hurry fast.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
You said hurry fast.
It's in my room. Jeez.
So
sorry.
So here you are, 2 years in, and you have set the world on fire.
And it's set me on fire. It's gave me like this. It's gave me, you know, this purpose. Obviously, I love being a mom and getting to stay with my kids and just do whatever. Plug it in over there for me. We're plugging it in. Hurry fast. It's going to die. There we go. Unplug
it. Thanks, Michael. Yeah. Thanks, Michael.
Pull that one.
Thanks.
He said thanks. He's fixing it. Sorry. I got to move this way now.
Okay.
Yay, we're back. Sorry.
We're back. That's all right.
But no, it's like gave me this because now I get to help other people do the same thing. And you know how they say like your vibe attracts your tribe, and it's like this cliche saying, but in reality though, it's actually true.
Yep.
Because when you show up as your true self, what happens is you attract the people who relate to you on some level. Like obviously the people that are on my team, all of them, they're not all, you know, recovering addicts. Some of them just relate to the, you know, to the strength or to, you know, not knowing their dad, or maybe they were, you know, sexually assaulted, or maybe, you know, so many different things that they all relate to me in some way. Where and to see them, us as a whole, all just grow, like it's so much purpose for me, and I wouldn't trade it for anything, even if I didn't make what I do. Hey, because I'm just at the tip of the iceberg.
Your head is cut off a little. There you go. There you go. Thank you.
Let me push it this way some more. 1 second. You're good. I'm fixing this.
I just love how you just roll with it. You're like, whatever, let's just do it.
So, well, it's either that or don't happen, and I don't have time for that. Like it's got to happen.
Amen.
And my kids, I've got used to them popping in and just rolling with it.
Yeah. So you have now, I mean, you've grown closer to Ray Higdon, obviously.
Oh yeah.
you and you've done some amazing things. Let me ask you this question, because there's somebody that's going to watch this, or has watched it, or is watching. There is somebody that, I remember one time having my car repossessed in front of all of my employees.
Oh man.
That was a terrible day.
Yeah.
But like, we've all been there where, and I'm sorry, Jan Barnes is the one that told me to interview you. I was wrong.
I love
My God,
Jan.
she nailed it when she told me to interview you. So thank you for that, Jan. But
Thanks,
so
Jan.
so the person out there that can't figure it out, like they're maybe their car was just repoed, the electric's being shut off tomorrow, they can't figure out what the heck to do to get life on the right track. Like, to that person that is at the end of their rope and they don't know what to do, what do you say to them to help them get through this moment? Because we all hear people go, "Oh, just hang in there." It's like, dude, what? Hang
Yeah,
in there
no.
is not an
Hang
option.
on to
I'm like,
what?
I can't even buy food for my kids. Like, what are you talking
Exactly.
about? Like, what do you say to that person to help them get over that hump?
I would probably just, honestly, I would just want like to pretend like I'm just telling you, okay?
Yeah.
You are going to get through this. And I know that it sounds ridiculous. And I know that it's probably going to be harder before it gets easier. Okay. If somebody tells you it's going to be magical and fast, it's just not. It's just not. There's so much that comes with getting through anything. But you got to dig deep, because if you are in that situation, there's something about that person that actually wants to get through it, that they can almost figure out anything. And if you want to get out of it, there's so many things. Like, for instance, like I said, I didn't have anything really that I thought was of value, but that's what you have to figure out. Like, I sold kids' toys because that's all I had, right? But you have to get creative no matter what, but there's always an option, even when it doesn't seem like there is. Like, two cars sitting in the front yard, neither one of them work, and I've got two kids and my lights are fixing to get cut off. To me, it wasn't an option to be like, go with the flow. My kids are going to be taken, my lights are going to be off, and whatever. It was, what can I do to fix this? I cannot fix it. And you have to decide that you're not going to stay in the situation you're in. And if you decide that, I believe 1000%, because of that decision that I made, the universe started pulling things to me that was what I wanted. Or it maybe not so much what I wanted, but opportunities and options. And,
Yeah.
Because when I thought I had none, I don't know, that's really just, when you think you have none, there's something. There is something.
Yeah.
It's just you have to be resourceful enough to look for it.
I'm absolutely blown away. And my last question for you is this: in your mind, and you've been through a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff that 99% of the world will never go through, right? They just won't.
I'm happy that they won't.
Right.
Sure.
But what do you think is the number one thing that holds people back from success, financial success, from true joy and happiness? What do you think it is?
I think it's all in. It's a mindset thing. It's like, just like somebody, they would tell me all the time, you're never going to amount to anything. You're never whatever. But it comes down to, they can say it all day, but I took it in and believed it. Right.
Right.
And that stopped me for a lot of years. And even still, I have to work with this unworthiness issue that comes up from time to time because
Yeah.
it was embedded in there so much. And I think that the mindset of like, that's for other people, that's not for me. Or, you know, things will never be different for me. Like, but when you can look at it with the eye of why not me? And like, what's the worst that can happen if I try?
Right.
Because here's the thing, I didn't believe in myself. It wasn't me that I had the belief in. It was that somebody else was doing it. Then why can't I learn? Right? Like
Right.
I can learn. I can do the things. If they can do it and I can feel like with a plan, then
Yeah.
I could follow directions. And as I got results because I've done the things, then I got some belief, right? But it's all us. We hold ourselves back because of the beliefs that we have, is my true opinion. It's how we're raised. It's how we're brought up, what the media is showing us, what we're watching on TV. I don't watch TV anymore, haven't in a long time. But
Right.
it's so many things that are engraved in us. It's an upper limit problem. And I will say that Ray suggested this book for me, and he suggested it to me like 10 times. I don't know if he really likes if he thinks like you still need that book, or if he forgets he's, told me. But The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, I don't know if you've read that one.
Never
You've
heard of it.
got to listen to it. Anybody, any single person, whether you're in like a horrible situation or you're at this spot and you feel stuck and you want to go to the next level or whatever, I recommend it 1000%.
Wow.
And then The War of Art. I don't remember the author of that one. Those two books
The
are
War of Art or
life-changing.
the Art of War?
The War of Art.
The War of Art.
Yep.
I've heard of The Art of War by Sung Tu.
Nope.
Wow.
They're both really good, and
Wow.
they're they're both pretty easy to listen to if you're that kind of person.
Yeah.
But you can if you use what's in those books, I truly believe, because they've helped me, that you could change your life, because it makes so much sense. It brings so much to that awareness, to that conscious level that you may not realize. And I say all the time, people don't know what they don't know.
Amen.
You have no idea until you do. And then you're like,
wow.
Yeah, exactly. And as you said, yes, I have grown closer with Ray. I actually do work for the Higdon Group as well now. So super honored. It still blows my mind that they, trust and love me enough to let me help them serve their audience. And so
Ray and
awesome.
Jess.
That's how I found you, was Ray and Jess's interviews with you.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, they were awesome. I really liked them.
I love Ray and Jessica. They're amazing. They are absolutely amazing. I am completely and totally, like, first off, I feel so honored that you have been on the show. Second, I do want to be your agent and get you a movie deal. Third, like I'm blown away. Your story is probably one of the most inspirational stories I've ever heard on this show.
Well, thank you. Wow. That's super kind. And I can't say it. Like, I've said it and I've said it and I'll say it again. Everybody I've talked to, like, it's such an honor to even be on here, to be talking to you, and just, to share me with your audience. It's truly an honor and something that I don't take lightly. And I just appreciate you having me so much.
Thank you. Like, I can't say thank you enough. So, somebody asked earlier, I didn't want to interrupt you, but where can everyone follow you?
So if they, depends on what platform they're on, whatever. On Facebook, it's just Michelle Eldridge. I don't know if you can see my name or not. But one of my friends are on here. They can tag my Facebook profile. If you're seeing this on Facebook, yeah, that. Just look that up on Instagram or Facebook. My name is literally that on both places.
Yeah.
And I'd love to connect with any of you. If you have, like, if you're in some kind of situation, you ever need somebody to talk to, I'm your person. Don't ever feel like you have no one ever, because it sucks. It sucks when you feel like you're alone completely and utterly. So I always try to say that, because I wish somebody would have said it to me.
Wow, you're unbelievable. Thank you so much. I just wow, I'm blown away. So thank you. You are amazing.
Thank you.
You're a blessing and a gift to this world. So I'm very, very grateful. And to everybody who's watched this and listened to this and will listen to this, share this out, because her story is definitely going to help a lot of people. So
Thank you so
Michelle,
much. That's so sweet.
you're awesome. Hang on here with me. I'm going to end the live stream. So thank you to everyone who shared this out and has been in here. Like, wow. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to end this. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, Michelle.